it's one of the big questions of our age. How do you deal with people who hold radical or extremist views? This week, in a series of exclusive films, our reporter Catrin Nye talks directly to those whom the British government and some of our institutions consider to be radical and explores how the authorities deal with them. What works? What doesn't? What can backfire? And is it really possible to change someone's deeply held fundamental views? By their very nature, the conversations you will witness are direct, uncomfortable, and in some cases offensive. Over the course of the next few days, you'll hear from people who are subject to some sort of measure because of their views. We wanted to hear from them in order to understand more about how the authorities try to deal with them. Today's report is about a man the government is trying to de-radicalise on its secretive Channel programme, which is part of the government's controversial Prevent agenda. At least 4,000 people have been referred to Channel since it started back in 2006. But no one has ever before spoken to the media until now. Catrin Nye's report has flashing images from the start, and it lasts about 10 minutes.
And my beliefs, I was thinking I got nothing to lose, and I have a lot to win. If I die, if they shoot me or anything, I'm not gonna lose anything except my life.
There are different ways that the government, the police and British institutions can deal with people considered radical. De-radicalise them, arrest them, control them, recruit them, silence them. So what does each involve? What works and what might backfire? I've been examining each of these measures, asking which are successful and speaking to the people subject to them. They have views that many consider offensive, but that's why they're called radical. In 2002, Hanif Kadir went to Afghanistan to fight for Al-Qaeda. He admits he was radicalised and now works with the government to stop others taking a similar path. That's why he knows Adam. Adam, who I've given a different name, is Polish. He's 28 and a convert to Islam. He's on the government's de-radicalisation programme, which is called Channel. This is part of the Prevent agenda, aimed at stopping people being drawn into violent extremism. The Channel programme is very secretive. I've been trying to speak to someone on it for 5 years, and this is the first time I've been able to.
They found me on the street, like they start talking to me, and then they bring me here and they introduce me to Hanif.
They didn't know he was a Muslim. He was homeless, he was a telephone box he was sitting near. We give him a place, we found him a place to stay overnight, and then a few days went by. There was a focus group here. But the guy that was running the focus groups came up to me and said to me that he had some concerns about a participant and he couldn't give me the name because it was confidential. So I went to some of the other participants and I found out that he was this man they were referring to. So I sat down and started talking to him. And that's when I realized that, this man needs some serious help. Because as far as he was concerned, the Charlie Hebdo killers done the right thing, and the ones who insult the Prophet deserve to die.
Is that right? When you saw the Charlie Hebdo attacks, you thought that was justified?
That's what I was thinking, They do the right thing. I was thinking they deserve to die, because how Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, he was a holy man, Why they make the things like that?
Hanif discovered Adam had a complex background. Before being found by his team in London, he'd been living in Paris.
I was learning about Islam, but the books which I received, I didn't know they're extremist, Because it's like you go into the school, they give you a book and, like in the extremist books, there is nothing they're not saying directly kill the people or things like that, because the book is very nice, written, you know, in beautiful language, or I can say like that. But it's just the way the book makes you feel after you read. You understand? I went to France. I was meet some people, Muslims, who were showing me like, you know, like in Syria there was a war, yeah. So I was seeing live videos, yeah. They have body cameras, you know. They make videos. So I see many of these videos, and I see training videos, you know.
Were these people dangerous?
I think these were people that were linked to some networks within Syria and Iraq. May have had some links with the Charlie Hebdo situation.
I was watching what is going on in the world, and I see other people they do nothing about. You understand?
Intentionally, he's not a terrorist, you know. But by default and by of his naiveness, was prepared to do something nasty. I've realised how easy it was for somebody to manipulate him. You know, everything was crumbling all around him. He's lost his job. His family had crumbled around him.
Were you prepared to go and fight in Syria and Iraq?
I was thinking first about training, and then thinking about to go fight. I was thinking I got nothing to lose, and I have a lot to win. If I die, if they shoot me or anything, I'm not gonna lose anything except my life.
He was a problem, of course. As far as I was concerned, and some of my team, we were convinced that if we didn't intervene with him, if we didn't engage with him and provide him with the support, I don't think he'd have been around. I think he'd have probably gone abroad and either been killed or killed others.
In all, more than 4,000 people have been referred to the programme that Adam's on since 2006, the Channel programme. Between 2006 and 2007, only 5 people were referred. Between 2008 and 2010, that had increased to 467 people. And between 2013 and 2014, it had more than doubled to 1,281 people referred to Channel. It's the hard end of the government's prevent agenda. The people that end up on it have been identified as someone potentially on a path to violent extremism. This leads to an assessment, and a bespoke programme of de-radicalisation is created for them. The prevent agenda is highly controversial. As part of it, teachers and academics are required to look out for signs of extremism. It's been accused of vilifying British Muslims in particular, and silencing legitimate debate, especially criticism of British foreign policy. So how does this work? You identify he's a problem, and then what happens?
So I would then tell the local authorities, and the local authorities would have a panel meeting, which includes the police, which would include other statutory service providers like mental health services, education services. So whatever needs there may be for this individual, we will put them around him as soon as possible to mentor him and provide that intervention.
Is he basically now on some sort of terror watch list?
No. This is one thing that people don't understand about Channel, is that you don't go on any watch list. It's just a program that allows an organisation like us to come together to provide a support network around an individual of concern who may be on a path to extremism or radicalism. And clearly, in this case, he was very much so on a path to terror. So we've pulled him back from the edge, let's say. I think he's one of the high-risk cases we work with.
Prevent and Channel are so controversial. So many Muslims see them as spying programs. Do you understand why?
I see that.
Do you think they partially are?
Don't get me wrong, we've had parents who are very suspicious of why are their children looked upon by the police or by the local authorities as suspicious? Is it because they're Muslim? But then after the child's been taken through the process and the child's admitted to the parents that I could have been in Syria, they don't understand the reality of the threat to their children and to our communities.
I get a sense that because you were quite easily led by some radical thinkers, that you've actually also been quite easily led the other way. Can this work for everyone, someone that might be more knowledgeable, more steadfast in their views?
Of course it can. Everybody's different, and every single approach that we take will be different. We've created an environment around him where he becomes vulnerable to our mentoring. As simple as that. It was about allowing him to critically analyse what he thought and what the reality is. So to take him through the teachings of Islam and say, well, look, here's the book, here's the Quran, and this is what the Prophet ﷺ, Prophet peace be upon him, has said about extremism.
I will study from the teachings of Islam. There, we're not allowed to kill people, except if it's a war. Yeah.
We've been talking about some things for a number of days, and all of a sudden, a few days later, he's come back and he asked me the same question again. Why? So I've had to say this why. And at some point, I'll be honest with you, sometimes I've been very angry with him. And I feel sorry for him because I know he's only coming back and he's asking because he's trying to process the information. I've been programmed to think this way. You know, give me some time to think about this. There's a couple of cases I'm working with now, also converts to Islam, who are really, you know, their heart is set on traveling to Syria. You know, and I'm working on ways of how to, you know, move them away from that trajectory.
We have little idea how effective this kind of government intervention is. The channel programme is so secretive that there have been no public evaluations of it. If he had gone to Syria, fought, come back here, for a good reason, for what he felt was a noble cause, would he have been a threat?
When you get exposed to certain elements on the ground level, and you see some of the atrocities, it's not difficult to want to get involved and prevent that from happening.
Are they dangerous back home, though?
With the level of violence that they've been exposed to, of course they are.
Is he a threat now?
Absolutely not.
Do you think you're a threat now? Do you think you are de-radicalised?
I am in the process. Sometimes the information is what I was studying in the books. They're coming back to my head. But I'm fighting with this, and it's going in a good direction. Like, I think more positive.
In this film, she hears from a member of a new far-right group who describes himself as a proud racist and who says he won't be deterred by the dozens of arrests involving his members. By its very nature, the conversation is direct, uncomfortable, and many will find what he says offensive. We wanted to talk to someone from the far-right National Action Group in order to understand what the authorities are doing to deal with them. The report lasts around 10 minutes and has flashing images at the start.
They collaborate with the global banking system to bring masses of third world people into this country to replace, rape and murder our people. And one day they're just going to come together and say, you know, we've had enough of you. This is our country now, and they get to make the rules.
There are different ways that the government, the police and British institutions can deal with people considered radical. De-radicalise them, arrest them, control them, recruit them, silence them. So what does each involve? What works and what might backfire? I've been examining each of these measures, asking which are successful and speaking to the people subject to them. They have views that many consider offensive, but that's why they're called radical.
Traditional far-right groups, they might say, it's the Muslims, it's the Jews. We understand that it's about a global economic system.
And what do you want Britain to look like? What's the ideal Britain?
Should be a white Britain.
Benjamin Raymond is 26 and spokesperson for a new far-right group called National Action.
The source of all of the conflict in society is the fact that these different racial groups have been brought here. They've been brought here to create a people who deracinated, and therefore they're more easy to control.
What does deracinated mean?
Deracinated means you have no sense of roots and no sense of identity.
Do you accept that your views are racist?
Of course,
You're a happy, comfortable racist?
I'm comfortable.
You're a comfortable racist?
That's the whole point. That is the whole point.
How long have you lived in Bognor?
Oh, my whole life.
Can I get one cod and chips? Any parents, siblings?
I don't have any parents.
Can you tell me more about that?
No. I feel exploration of who I am is a bit too much. Your mother passed away. That must have sucked. Is that why you're full of hate? You know what I mean?
Well, there usually is a reason for people having these views.
Why does it have to be, some Freudian analysis of childhood?
Do you think people considered radical, considered extremists, considered racists or Islamists, do you think they are sincere political beliefs?
Of course. They're the most sincere political beliefs. When you look at a general right-wing candidate and you throw racist at them, now they might be racist. In fact, let's assume they are. But they say, no, I'm not, no, I'm not, no, I'm not. That person isn't honest. That person is hiding what their real beliefs are. As a society, this is an endemic problem where people feel the need to suppress what their real views on things are.
Benjamin feels no need to suppress his views. National Action are national socialists with a fancy website but less than 100 members. They try and recruit at universities. Despite the tiny numbers, their openly racist demos mean they've racked up almost 20 arrests. One member, Garen Helm, was sent to prison for an anti-Semitic tweet to an MP.
If you're a National Socialist, you're a Nazi.
So you guys are Nazis?
Yes.
I'm proud?
Yes. Hitler called the strongest man is mightiest when alone.
So you consider Hitler a role model?
Absolutely.
And what are you asking for?
We're asking for a free white Britain.
Who is white? Is
Europeans.
a Polish person white? A Polish person is white?
Absolutely.
Is a Greek person white?
Absolutely.
Is a Turkish person white?
Not really.
Do you understand that the majority of people will find your views disgusting?
At the time when I was born, Section 28 was in practice. In schools, a teacher could be expelled if he said that homosexuals had normal, healthy relationships. And the idea of what is extreme, what is unreasonable, what is disgusting to society changes.
Do you think you guys are hate preachers?
No, I'm a love preacher. You can't have hate without love.
White people.
Exactement. And if you love something, you hate whatever is a threat to it. We're talking about fantasy. We're talking about something that isn't within the realm of the current now.
Well, that's the
For
point,
us, it's
isn't it?
about
Your
moral
ideas are
principles.
fantasy.
We bring the type of people we want together, and we make something that in the future could be a political party.
You think you're better than the other far-right groups?
I would say possibly, yes.
Is that your aim?
That is the aim, yeah. To build an organisation which has more intelligent people in it.
The university-educated far-right?
University-educated far-right. When the Race Relations Act was brought in, every year there's hundreds of people who go to prison under it. Very few of those are people with political backgrounds. They're people who are unable to keep up with the pace of dialectics, with what's politically correct, what you can and cannot say. People get in trouble for it all the time. This is kind of funny to us.
Benjamin thinks his group are smarter than other far-righters, but they're still being arrested in high numbers.
So small radical groups like to demonstrate. It's one of the main things that they do. And the police's job is principally to allow them to do that. But the police also have to balance that, of course, against public order and potential disorder. So the police are always looking for ways in which these groups might be breaching the peace in some ways. Now, activists who demonstrate would say that actually the police use their powers of arrest to frequently they use it too broadly, essentially to make the act of demonstrating rather unpleasant, not enjoyable.
So one of your members was arrested and put in prison for tweeting anti-Semitic material to a Jewish MP. Hashtag Hitler was right.
Yeah.
Are you proud of that?
Most cases, especially in the case of Garen, it enhanced the feeling of persecution and the idea that what we're doing is right.
There is a danger that groups or individuals that are arrested or that are prevented from speaking their mind in whatever way end up feeling like they are justified, that they're vindicated in some ways, because they're anti-establishment, many of these groups. So whenever they're shut down by that establishment, it's something of a badge of honor in some ways, but also for them it sort of demonstrates that they are speaking truth to power. And the fact that people are trying to close them down is actually proof that they're right, because it has the establishment scared.
So you were born and have lived your entire life in Bognor Regis.
Correct.
I've been here a few hours and have only seen white people. Do you think that's why you have a problem with people of colour?
I feel some guilt actually for not experiencing the reality that people commonly face. I didn't choose to live here. I feel I have privilege.
Do you see why the government would be concerned about you?
The government have the right to intervene the moment somebody is breaking the law. If you're obeying the law, then you should be left alone.
In June, 26-year-old Zach Davis was found guilty of attempted murder. He attacked an Asian dentist with a machete in North Wales. Was he connected to your group?
Absolutely not.
Did he have material?
He had a flag.
A national flag?
Yeah.
He gets your material, buys it off the internet, then goes into a supermarket and hacks at a Sikh man with an axe. Does it make you sad that he had your material?
It makes me really annoyed and disappointed because he was obviously using that to exploit our image, but it's not something I worry about because, let's face it.
You probably should.
No, it didn't. I mean, Columbine didn't really harm Marilyn Manson's career. We will form an institution and we will take back our country.
From who?
The white traitors.
And Catrin Nye's film was directed by Ben Lister. JC on Twitter says, why give the Nazi man a platform? He should not be on TV. As I explained a little earlier, we thought it was absolutely relevant to hear what these kind of people are saying in order to understand whether the measures that the government are using to try and de-radicalise, if you like, or confine such people are working or not.
I've been getting away